We are back. Welcome back, LA.
Welcome, JT. How's everything? We are back, people. We are back. We are
The No
live.
Cap News Recap.
Beat me to it. No cap news recap. Yes, indeed. We are live, people.
So before we get started, hit that like, subscribe, turn the notifications on, leave us a comment, all that good stuff.
Get to know us. Send us some questions. Ask us some personal questions. I may or may not answer, but get to know us. Connect with us. I think that would be interesting. Don't ask no age questions though. We don't go over the age part. You know, women don't tell their ages. Men shouldn't either. So don't ask us about relationships, kids, no kids, marriage, nothing, no credit scores, you know, just little subtle questions about why we're doing this. You know, what led us to do this no cap news recap show. All right. So let's jump right into it, JT. What do you want to say?
Speaking of relationships.
Yeah, speaking of relationships, let's get into the first one. Representing Black women. All righty, representing Black women. Let's see what we got here.
Where do you rank Black women in terms of attractiveness?
All the way at the bottom.
Very bottom.
Multitude of reasons. Now, are all Black girls ugly? Of course not. There's some hot ones, but it's a minority. And, you know, let's be honest here. The average Black woman's 187 pounds. Loud, obnoxious, rude, fake hair. You know? Yeah, they did they've done like studies on like a customer service, right?
Yeah.
And Black women rank the lowest for getting a customer service representative that's Black. And then also waiting on a table of Black women.
Yeah.
So servers say they hate serving Black women the most. And then people that call customer service say they hate dealing with Black women the most. So it's like, bro, what the fuck is going on here, man? You know, and then on top of that, another thing that I'm very critical of, they hate me for is Black women don't have a general respect for masculinity because a lot of them grow up in fatherless households. And not only do they grow up in fatherless households, they grow up being told, oh, your daddy ain't shit. Your niggas ain't shit. Then you listen to the music, niggas ain't shit, whatever. And it's this like continuous, perpetuous, and very pernicious cycle of just constantly shitting on men.
Yeah.
So by the time she comes to you, she doesn't really have an appreciation or respect for masculinity and most importantly, your authority. So she doesn't feel as though she needs to submit to you and follow you.
Yeah.
So these are just some of the issues that plague the Black community. Again, I want to be clear about this. Is this all Black women? No. But we can't sit here and lie and say that it's not something that permeates throughout the culture and isn't endorsed, supported, and most importantly, encouraged.
Absolutely.
So is the resident Black female thoughts?
Yo, I got questions. First of all, is he Black? Right? That's my question.
As many N-words as he let out, I would hope so.
Maybe, maybe not. Is he Black? What's his dynamic as far as household? How was he raised? Because he's a male. Does he have sisters that he's in a household with that he knows was getting this information, that was getting this conditioning and training? He's right that what he's saying doesn't apply to all Black women. So really, it's not that big of a deal, right? Would I agree to some of the things that he is saying regarding women appreciating masculinity? I think that women's understanding of masculinity has been manipulated for the needs of men, of Black men. So when a girl is told certain things as a young girl, and she has brothers, and she has male cousins, and she sees the way they're being treated, which is usually unfair to Black girls, there is a natural resentment that starts to develop at a very young age about the fairness between male and female genders. That's completely understood at a young age. So masculinity has to do with power, and he mentioned being subservient, submissive, not listening to. All of those things are deeply rooted in a household where women want to please men. So it doesn't come that women want to be disregarding to that. It's just that you have a mother that teaches you that stuff as a kid, and then you realize there's some unfairness in it. So when you choose not to follow the steps of a man and listen to everything he has to say, you're not disrespecting masculinity. You're not disregarding it. You do understand masculinity, just like men should understand femininity. It's just that there's some barriers within that. And then there's boundaries that need to be set around masculinity. Masculinity can allow a woman to get beat up. It can allow a woman to get choked out. It can allow a woman to get raped. Whole host of things that can come out of masculinity. So that's his opinion, his perspective. It doesn't apply to me. It doesn't apply to every Black woman. So he's having a moment. I'm okay with that. It's free speech. That's all I have to say about it.
I was like, I don't know. I was like, where are these statistics coming from about the whole server or customer service stuff? Then, when he was talking about, the whole being raised to, not respect masculinity, I was kind of getting on board. But, when he started talking to submissive following stuff, I was like, you're going to get people to jump off the boat now. Because it's like, taking a little bit too far now. But
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's his cultural background? Where's his heritage? Where's he come from? Is he Black? Was he raised in the North? Was he raised in the South? Was he raised Midwest, West Coast, East Coast? There are a lot of variables that can contribute to his position on this issue, which is a very strong position to take publicly, to say that that women don't respect masculinity. Men have gotten ahead in this world because women overly respect masculinity in so many different ways. But I mean, kudos to him. He has people that listen. I've come across him before, on the internet. So he's not for everyone. We all have a different taste and how we want to deliver the message, but it doesn't apply to everyone. So I'm good with that. Once he says this does not apply to every Black woman, I'm fine with that. Because there's nothing that's completely general and 100%.
So before we go to the next story, I think that this goes to our big story of the evening, which would be the Diddy story that we'll get to. But I think this sets the precursor for that.
Wait, hold on though. As far as customer service, I'm not staying on the phone for 20 minutes with a customer while she try to figure out why she bought something that she no longer needs, and I have to help get her packaging and her labels and all that stuff together. I would be really bad at customer service as a Black woman.
I'm like, I gotta disagree with that. Nobody wants. I think any and everybody would rather have a Black woman than a Karen, because Karen is, let me speak to your manager.
Well, as if I was customer service, I would let you speak to my manager if it's not going to impact my performance ratings. Because if you're telling me, let me speak to your manager, gladly, my manager gets paid more than me to handle things like this. So I'm going to transfer you.
No, but I've worked in customer service before, and it's like, there's a lot of times there is no manager available, right? Your manager is not there. There's no one to transfer them to. So it's like, I could get you a support ticket for somebody to call you back or something, but there's no manager. And if you're constantly writing up support tickets, it seems like you can't handle stuff on the front line. So it's
Correct. There's a way to handle that. You just have to be a professional a-hole. Hey, listen, there's no manager available. And, I'll give you an email that you can submit your claim to in writing, since I'm not able to help you. And I would continue to tell the person, listen, I'm sorry, I'm not able to help you. I have an email that you can write. We have an address and we have an email because I'm sorry, I can't help you. The demanding of things, I can't help you. If there's a manager there, I'll transfer you. But if not, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to help you. Here's an email that you can, forward your concerns to, and that's it. But this not going to be a 45-minute customer service call. And I know that a lot of Black women would be like, listen, lady, we're going to wrap this up. So I think that we're straight to the point. Whereas I've been on the phone with white customer or a person who sounds non-Black, they could be of any other race that's, besides Black. And they really they try to take me around other corners, and I'm clearly stating why I'm calling you. They don't get it. But a Black customer service rep that she sounds, it appears to be Black, and her tone gives me Blackish. She gets it, like, okay, you need this? All right, thank you. Got it. Boop. There you go. But everyone else is like, they want to.
She gets it, but it'll take a lot of time for you to get it, because I've been on those calls. We're in sync, but yet since the pandemic, she's working from home and there's kids and dogs barking and all types of shit. And I'm like, yeah, this is a distraction for the both of us.
Well, I'll take a disgruntled customer service rep over an overly aggressive, stubborn woman that her man is complaining that she doesn't respect his masculinity. I'll take that side. So for this guy here, I respect what he has to say. And again, it doesn't apply to everyone. So he was very smart in saying that. So we good. So now let's see
but does it apply?
What?
Finish.
No, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, but does that apply to Nia Long?
That's what I was coming up with. Like, let's see what representation we have out there in the world that could support both sides of what he's saying. All right. So, and I'm a fan of Nia Long. Okay. So let's see what she has to say about, or let's see how she represents for us Black women.
We went on a date after we kind of hung out, and he took me back to Brooklyn and dropped me off. And I'm like, okay, so I guess this is the part where you exchange numbers. Make a long story short, a week goes by, and I didn't hear from him. He gave me his number, and I'm like, God, I gave him mine. He didn't call me. And finally, I call him, and I dial the number, and this man gave me a wrong number.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
Now, why would we have done that? Did you do that purposely?
Yes, I did it purposely. She was kind of obnoxious.
No, I wasn't.
Here's what, you know how you go on a date and this one thing means we're not going out again?
Yes.
It could be like one thing.
Yes.
The whole thing could be fine.
Okay.
And then one thing could end it. And so at some point in the date, I go, are you seeing anybody, right? And she says, hey, she says, no, but I know where to get some if I need it.
All these years later, you all can do business together.
Yeah. And I didn't have to worry about calling you for that.
Yeah.
So.
And it's all good. What a story. All right. I heard that when he came to you, Nia, about good hair.
So ladies, don't say that on a first date.
In an effort to seem like an independent woman, I am afraid that many women have probably said something like that.
Listen, I was young and honest.
And the margaritas were good.
Hey!
Dinner was going.
Shout out to that throwback Wendy Williams clip right there.
For real. Shout out to Wendy Williams, man. Like, the fact that we can go back to something and, and play it, and it was, part of her legacy, that's a good thing considering her situation right now. So she definitely put out some content that we can go back to and make use of today on the No Cap News Recap show. And everybody, make sure y'all check in with us. Notifications are on. Subscribe. Do what you got to do. Share it. Comment. Let us know if we good or bad. And I like that. I like what Nia Long. I don't see a problem with her putting Chris Rock, not Chris Brown. Oh, speaking of, we need to get some Chris Brown content up here. Shout out to Chris Brown and what he's dealing with across the globe. But I don't see
hold your head.
Yeah, definitely. Chris Rock, I don't see her putting him on notice. I like that. I like that approach. It doesn't mean she's not respecting masculinity. She's obviously respecting masculinity because she can make a phone call and get some D whenever she wants. So,
well, I think that's toxic femininity right there.
Why? That's not respecting masculinity.
No, I'm like, what if a girl said this? Oh, are you dating anybody? Nah, but I got pussy, whenever I need it. What?
That would be respecting femininity. What's the problem?
No, that would sound like I devalue women that I can just, oh yeah, I got some of that on call. Like, and I'm just I'm not referring to a female, I'm referring to the genitalia. So
it's not empowering for you to say it because you guys have had your way with women forever, consensually and non-consensually. So it's not empowering for a man to say, I can get some pee whenever I want, so this date is just a date. But it's empowering for a woman to say it because it puts that boundary on, I will be a quote unquote, I will engage in sex when I'm ready, when I want, and not be a sex object, but I make the choice of who I want to have sex with. That's empowerment. I'm not being raped. I'm consenting to it, and there's no monetary value attached to it. I'm not being manipulated into making a phone call for D. Like, oh, bills don't get paid around here. When you're in a home with an abusive man and stuff like that. So for a woman to say it, it's empowering. For a man to say it, it's not empowering. It's a double standard, just like many other things in this world. And just get over it. Okay.
When you bring SA into it, I'm like, men have been the victims of such. Like, you got Cardi B drugging people. You got the movie Hustlers with Jennifer Lopez and whatnot, where they're drugging men and taking their cash and whatnot. So I'm like, men can be victims.
Let's move this law. Let's move that. And what we talking? 25 years? Y'all been on that for like 200-300 years. Of beating women up, dragging them through the woods by their hair, like, let's move this along. What are you talking about here?
See, now you got me. I'm gonna have to do some research. What is the antonym for misogyny? Because there's some men hating women out there. So we don't have a word for those.
Yeah, but if we're just getting into hustling men out of things and putting stuff in their drinks, imagine how many decades men have been spiking women's drinks to have their way with them. It's okay. We're catching up. How about that? We're catching up.
Is that something that needs to be caught up on or just eradicated completely?
Well, until we have like a town hall discussion on this, it won't be eradicated, but we're definitely catching up. Okay. So she can make a phone call and get some D. No big deal. It's sexy when a woman says it because she's not selling it. She's just saying, I can call and get some. Now, if she had been a reality TV star on the show talking about it, and they would have said, oh, she's a slut. She's a whatever the negative word is, the label, oh, she's a hoe, whatever. That's what they be saying about Nia Long. But because of her role as an actress, she's not a reality TV star. It sounds like, oh, okay, it's empowering. Oh, yeah, she does what she want to do.
Okay, but when we get to this next story, because she says in that Wendy Williams clip, she was young. The next clip she'll be talking about when she was younger.
She meant immature. She meant immature as in young.
you know, all week we've been hearing about this whole age difference between Cassie and Diddy. You know, tease for the, you know, the later coming trial update with him. But let's get into this next clip to, you know, with Nia Long.
I wasn't the girl that ever went to prom. Like, my boyfriend was 30 when I was in high school. I know my mother was crazy, but you know what? I would never ever I mean that in a good way. Like, she was an artist. She was like, well, if that's who you love, baby. And he was so good to me and kind and like, you right? And he did it the right way.
All right, so, but you see everybody's like applauding or laughing. If this was the 30-year-old guy saying, when I was 30, I was dating a girl in high school, I don't think that'd be the same reaction.
Now it depends on who's reacting to it. Okay, because my grandfather was much older than women that he dated, and I have an aunt who's like young like me, so it's like I don't really. He always had young women. That was the culture. So it depends on the age group that's responding to it. It depends on the age group. There was a culture of older men dating girls out of high school. I had a friend.
But when you talk about like your grandfather, I'm assuming that these are people of age. They might have a big age gap, but they're all of age. She's in high school.
Well, okay, was she a high school senior? Was she ninth grade? Which one are we talking about? Was she 17 or 18 or was she 15? Because, you know, when you're in your last year of high school, for some reason, parents think you're grown and ready to move out. And that's the culture. You're 18, you graduated from high school, you can leave the house now with no toolkit, with nothing. They just want you out of the house at 18. So maybe in the mom's mind, oh, he's about to take care of you, and you're going to move in with him when you graduate in the summer. So what grade, I know that's a soundbite, but what grade was she in when she was dating him at 30? And there was a time when a 30-year-old man acted like he was 19, 20. And they would get these younger girls. And when I was in junior high school, I had a friend that told me she had a boyfriend that lived on her block. I thought he was at least ninth grade to us, you know, because we're in junior high school. I thought he was at least ninth grade, 10th grade, because, you know, in junior high school, you get your working papers, right? You can start working you start working around high school. So she was saying like, oh, he works. So I'm thinking ninth grade, 10th grade, you know, at least, because we're in 8th grade. So I'm like, okay, 2 years is not a big difference to be dating someone. He was a grown man. This guy was giving her money. She would come to school with money, jewelry. And I used to be like, your mom is not saying anything? She's like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. Then I'm thinking he's a drug dealer because I'm like, okay, you got to be selling drugs. And he was grown. He was an adult. And the mother knew. But the mother was probably from that era of, you date an older man, they take care of you. You date an older boy, they take care of you. There's a culture that still exists to this day. That you date as a woman, you date an older man, he's going to take care of you. If a younger guy dates an older woman, oh, she's going to take care of you too. Same thing. Yeah, she's going to let you move in with her. She's going to take care of you. So I'm thinking, what's her age? What was she in high school? Was she 10th, 12th grade graduating? I mean, I would love to know more, but that's all we got. So Nia Long, you know, you're not necessarily being disrespecting masculinity, right? So
no, not in this.
What is it?
No.
But her mom encouraged something, so her mom has definitely conditioned her to believe it's okay. Age is not important. And to some people, age isn't important. So
all right, so let's woosah and get out of this whole men, female, masculinity, femininity.
we're gonna go back to it with Diddy anyway. This is just a warm up. This is just a warm up for all of that stuff. So yeah.
All right.
All righty.
All right.
Next
All
up.
right. So yeah, let's talk about how politics are affecting the real world right now.
Tonight, a Metro Atlanta mother lies brain dead in a hospital room, being kept alive only because she's pregnant.
So her case is now raising a lot of new questions about Georgia's controversial heartbeat law. Adriana Smith's family says they've been forced to wait without a voice while doctors try to keep her body functioning long enough to deliver her baby.
11 Alive's Cody Alcorn is live outside of Emory Midtown, where Adriana was just moved hours ago. Cody, what have you learned about what's going on here?
Well, Jennifer and Ron, Adriana has been on a ventilator for the past 90 days. Now, as you mentioned, she was moved here just hours ago, so doctors can deliver her baby when it is time.
All right, next clip.
Her family visits her every day, including her young son, who believes his mom is just sleeping. A crushing emotional toll, as you can imagine. The family says it's been made worse because they have no say on what happens next. 30-year-old Adriana Smith was about 9 weeks pregnant when she started having bad headaches in February.
Enough to know that something was wrong.
April Newkirk says her daughter went to Northside Hospital for help.
They gave her some medication, but they didn't do any tests. Didn't do any CT scans. If they did, they would have caught it.
The next morning, Adriana's boyfriend noticed something was terribly wrong.
She was gasping for air in her sleep, gargling. More than likely, it was blood. She was taken to Emory, Decatur, and then she was transferred here.
To Emory University Hospital, where Adriana worked as an RN. Unfortunately, there was nothing doctors could do.
They did a CT scan and she had blood clots all in her head. So they had asked me if they could do a procedure to relieve them, and I said yes. And then they called me back and they said that they couldn't do it.
Doctors declared Adriana brain dead.
So I feel as if somebody dropped the ball at the hospitals, and her boyfriend asked, please keep her. If she was kept at the hospital, we wouldn't be here.
Because of Georgia's heartbeat bill, which bans abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, her family says they weren't given any say in what happens next.
It's torture for me. I come here and I see my daughter breathing. And she has a son. What bring to see her?
Now, 21 weeks pregnant, her baby's health uncertain.
She's pregnant with my grandson, but my grandson may be blind, may not be able to walk, wheelchair bound. We don't know if he'll live once she has him.
A situation she says no one should be forced into.
It should have been left up to the family because I'm in my 50s, her dad is in his 50s, so we're going to have the responsibility with her partner to raise her sons, you know? And I'm not saying that we would have chose to terminate her pregnancy. What I'm saying is we should have had a choice. We should have had a choice.
It's likely doctors will not induce Adriana for at least another month. And it's not just the baby's health the family is worried about, also a medical bill. They say that continues to grow.
She's capping. She's capping. She's capping.
No, wait. You just saw a whole bunch of several minutes of context for what I'm about to say. There's context for what I'm about to say, right? Black lives don't matter all that much.
She's capping. How do you go through all of this and say, I'm not saying that we would have aborted the child, but I'm just saying we should have had a choice. What choice would you have made? You're pointing out the fact that you're in your 50s, your husband or father's in the mom, okay, the grandparents are in their 50s, and they will have to raise one child and then the birth of another. What is your point? She's capping. They don't want to raise a child that has a strong possibility of having disabilities.
Yeah, and it's like that's your child because like as much like the guy who's the father could walk across the street and get hit by a car tomorrow. Like,
right. She's capping. She's capping.
I'm like, all right, aside from what the grandmother is saying, the issue at hand is when they set this up, I think they set this up for the dwindling Caucasian population. But I think if you send this clip to the Trump administration, they'll repeal this. They're like, oh, we're saving so many black lives with this. Oh shit, we got, you know.
Nah, I don't like the fact that she's presenting all of this information and then saying we should have had a choice. They've made the best choice for you to not kill a person. You don't want to have a disabled grandchild that you have to raise until adulthood that could possibly be blind, can't walk. It's going to be in adult diapers. It's going to be in an adult high chair. Like, you don't want your grandchild have to sleep in an adult crib. That's
I'm like, all right, so just basing it on the facts that we have, right? She has a partner, right? Which means we don't know if the first kid she has, that's the father of that child, or if even if it is, they didn't get married or whatever. So it could be the husband and all that type. This like we don't even know what the dynamic is of the family as is right now, because the grandparents are taking care of the first child, not the partner. So I'm like, why would you think it'd be any different for the second child?
Yeah, but why wouldn't the father be capable of raising a second child? What if what if that would have been his first child ever?
I'm like, no, I'm like, all right, so they said she's already been there for 3 months and you're not going to induce for another month, right? So she had to have been like 4 or 5 months pregnant beforehand, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, like a father's opinion needs to have
some say.
Abortion choice. Like, I'm trapped now because I'm like, hey, we was planning on going to another state for that, but now I'm stuck with medical bills and a kid, you know, like, and no one to help me with. Like we would have had the kid if it was a we, but not just me.
Right. But that heartbeat bill just crashed the system altogether, because that kid is going to be born either way. But the grandmom saying we should have had a choice. What choice would you have made if they would have given the grandparents a choice? I would love to know what choice would they have made.
I don't know. They should have like a GoFundMe to like move. Well, it's probably too late now, but like they should have immediately had a GoFundMe so that we can, you know, fly her to another state where she could have the abortion or something.
I want to know what her choice would have been. There's only 2 options. Kill a mother, kill a baby.
I think she just wanted the option. I don't think she'd necessarily have taken the option. From what she's saying, it's just it'd been nice to have had the option.
That don't make sense. She's capping. How does that make sense to have an option to kill your daughter? It don't make sense.
Well, her daughter's already dead. It's the grandkid that they're talking about. The daughter.
All right, the option to kill your grandkid. How is that an option to kill or not kill your grandkid? How's that not an option? I mean, how is that an option? It should only be one decision.
And I'm like, just in the morality sense, right? I'm just like, all right, you abort the kid, right? But then the mother becomes an organ donor, you know, when you pull the plug. So I'm like, how many lives is she going to save compared to, you know, just that baby being saved? I think it's more morally, I think that would be a just decision.
That would be, but she's capping. She's not. She's using her personal bias against raising a disabled individual. That's what I think. So, and
you can't forget about that medical bill, because it's like
that medical bill is gonna
that heartbeat bill should absorb the cost of that. Like, if we have to keep you on life support,
she's not talking about medical. Do you think her position feels like a medical bill? Who are they gonna bill? The mother? The mother's dead. Who are they gonna bill? They can't bill anybody. The debt dies when the person dies. And the guy is not the husband. So the debt doesn't get passed on to him.
It might get passed on to the kid.
No.
The kid
She
would be
doesn't
the
want
next
to
kid.
raise.
Even if it's not the newborn kid, she has the first kid.
I don't like grandma. I'm talking over you. I don't like grandma. She don't want to raise a disabled person, and that's not fair. That's it. That's my position. I'm advocate on disabled people, so I sense the hate in her tone. We should have had a choice. What choice?
No, but I'm like, I'm an advocate as well, but I'm like, you can't stop the majority of people when you say to them, what do you want, a boy or a girl? It doesn't matter as long as they're healthy. So I'm like, nobody wants a disabled child. Nobody.
Yeah, but why is this even a choice? Okay, let's say the mother survived and then the mother had delays and then that implicated the child's birth. They will both be alive and you have to raise both of them.
Let me take back what I just said about nobody, right? Because I have run across a couple people will have a disabled child just so they can get a check, and those are the minority of deplorable people. But anyway, I just want to put that out.
Listen, I went to the hospital one day and I saw a grown man in a high chair, in a portable high chair with a bib on, and I saw a much older man moving the wheelchair high. It was like a combination wheelchair, high chair, portable baby seat type of thing. And I remember the nurse coming out and giving paperwork to the man. And the man had on like a uniform, but it wasn't like a medical uniform, but it was definitely a work uniform. And he said, okay, thank you, whatever. So as he was spinning this big chair around, I said, is that your son? And he said, yeah, it's my son. I said, okay, you're doing a good job. And he says, it's exhausting. He said, my wife and I, we haven't gotten a break since he was born. He's been disabled since he was born. He says, we don't get a break. He's 36 years old now. He can't feed himself. He can't talk. He can't bathe himself. We have to dress him. He wears diapers. I said, so who's helping you? He goes, well, we get assistance now. We have someone coming to home for a few hours. He said, but my wife and I have not had a break ever. He says, I'm still working and I'm in my 70s. He said, it's a lot of work. He said, I love my son, but we have not had a break. He said, I have never looked forward to a vacation. My wife has never looked forward to a vacation, nothing. And I said, look, I know it's hard, but just you're doing the right thing. Even if it's complicated, you're doing the right thing because it is hard. And that's what Granny that we talking about doesn't want to deal with. So when she says, I should have had a choice, I don't like that. But anyway, go ahead, Grandma. Good luck with your grandkid. I hope that grandchild lives, and I hope that grandchild has a quote unquote normal growth and development stages and prove you wrong, because you're saying that, but not saying it that you don't want to raise a disabled grandchild, because that's what it is. So yeah, that's just me. My little no cap, my little no cap energy on her. So yeah, there we go.
All right.
I don't like her. So next up, let's get into some comedy. Let's get into some entertainment comedy with this next clip.
Let's do it. Damn! Can I say something now?
Today. Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
So we going on tour 20th anniversary. Anybody that's been here with me for 20 years, can you make some noise? All right, well let's do it. Let's see.
And that's courtesy of 50 Cent's Instagram. So
I saw that clip on 50 Cent's Instagram. And somebody had to send it to him because he would not have been in the audience. That's crazy. That is not cap. That is real. I saw the video and I'm like, she has all these people standing behind her and nobody did like what's that, timeout? Nobody did that. Nobody like did a light signal, lowered the light over her, flicked it.
Like
nobody behind
they could have did a fake James Brown and came up behind her with a cape.
That's like no impromptu, nothing, like no quick fix plan, nothing. That's unfortunate. And I am a Keysha Cole fan. I am. But that's crazy.
It reminds me of the episode we did a month, 2 months, however long ago, with Tiny and her cheeks. Just, I don't know what's going on nowadays.
But where's your team that's making money off of you? I don't understand that
They
part.
backstage counting the money.
They back there holding her Louis Vuitton bags with all the money in it. Like, yeah, I wish she hurry up and get off stage. I'm not going out there to tell her. You gonna tell her? I'm not saying nothing. I'm not going out there. No, you go out there. No, I'm not going out there. If you were there, what would you have done? Would you have called up, yo? Would you have like something?
I'm like, you know how they say the show must go on? So I'm like, I don't know. Like, you know, when you make a mistake, you just keep going. So I'm like, I don't know, unless she like, you know, comes off stage or something like that. I'm not gonna come up on stage on some Kanye West and be like, yeah.
No. I would have grabbed any kid around. And
I'm like, you could, you know how like when the subtlety of something is like if you got something on your face and somebody else starts touching their face to make you want to touch your face to get whatever off. I'm like, I wonder if people in the audience would just be turning around and just touching they ass like maybe we need to check something.
No, that's as bad as a person you're talking to needs a Tic Tac or a mint and you take some out like, hey, you want one? That's how bad it is. You have to fix that. You have to fix that right away. I would have brought a kid on stage. Hey, this kid wants to say hi to you. Perfect intermission. Be like, yo, you got to go backstage. Yo, your pads is leaking out. Like, we got to fix this like right now. And I would have, if I was a manager, I would have been like, yo, let's get, grab a kid. Walk the kid on stage. Let us start talking to the kid like, yo, we got a malfunction, yo. We gotta fix this. ASAP. You got a leakage, yo. We gotta. That's what I get paid to do as a manager. Like, yo, that's what I get paid to do, to fix stuff. She up there turning around, walking back. No, stay in one place. You got a leakage. Don't they have a walking?
I'm like, so now they've gone from ass shots to ass pads?
Yes. They have pads for people that don't want to get the surgery. They have pads. They have them for breast and for the buttocks.
If you're going to do that, you don't need to be wearing Daisy Duke cut off shorts then.
Not at all. The positioning was not good at all. Again, her manager needs to be fired. The tour manager needs to be fired because that's an immediate fix. You got bad breath, eat a Tic Tac. Let's get this done. That's how bad that is. So, yeah, shout out to her team. Somebody will be fired. I swear you be fired. Everybody that was behind me on stage will be fired. DJ, music director, the backup singers, the drummer, everybody. Your contract, there's no way y'all gonna let me look like this on stage. But I wonder if she was feeling that. You think she was feeling it?
I'm like, as cold as they keep it in some of them theaters and whatnot, I'm sure she had to feel a breeze, a draft or something.
Or just something moving, something just out of place. If your underwear gets stuck between your and your butt, you feel it. Like you would be like, yo, let me fix this. So I don't know.
I just don't think she had the right size. She might not have had the right size pads or whatever.
I don't know. I got questions though. I don't know. I mean, isn't there like a live
I think that's the catchphrase of the show. I got questions.
I say it all the time. I got questions. I got questions because that needed to be fixed right away. Like, that's crazy. But shout out to her. The show went on. The show must go on. And maybe she's influencing everybody to do some things out here strange that they shouldn't do, like this next twerk story. Let's cap on this one.
Can only imagine the parents' pain when they got the news that their youngest of 5, Nyla Simmons, right here, was gone. But their pain pierced even deeper when they learned how she died. Nyla graduated from Parkway North High School last year, a social butterfly, her parents say, who just loved having a good time. She was supposed to start cosmetology school today, but her life was cut too short. Police say that she was struck and killed by a St. Louis fire truck late Saturday night, a little before 11:30. She was attending a friend's prom send-off just before this tragedy. Investigators say an Escalade stopped at a red light right there at the corner of Shoto and South Compton. When the SUV turned left, Nyla, who was dancing on top of the car, fell off. Well, not long after, she was hit by a fire truck as it was responding to a call.
We all been young before. Yeah. We all done did some type of things where it could have ended up bad for us.
We was just wanted the best for Nyla. Nyla, the incident, it's just tragic the way she died. But that's what hurt the most. The way she died. When Nyla was out having fun. That's what she liked, having fun, hanging with her friends.
Wow, you can only imagine her parents urging other teens to just think twice before doing something like this. Meanwhile, police say the investigation is still ongoing. When it comes to this case, we'll certainly keep you posted on any updates. Claire.
Yeah, you just really feel for Nyla's family right now, Justin. Thank you. Woman.
They said the investigation is still ongoing. What the fuck? What more investigating you need to do?
The fire truck coulda swerved around her and not hit her, and she'd still be alive. But they need to determine if the fire truck killed her or if her falling off the car, laying there unconscious, killed her, because she had to have been there for a while before the fire truck came.
I don't think
somebody killed her. Yeah,
I think
she had to kill herself.
I think she killed herself from twerking. I'm like, she probably had that Glorilla song F&F on, twerking on the bumper, or all of that. I'm like, no, that's just as dangerous as subway surfing.
Listen, I just saw a Dateline show where this man and his girlfriend had an argument, and he left the house, and she hopped into the back of his pickup and fell off into the street, and he left her there. And she got banged up. She didn't die, but she had to go through rehab, surgeries, all that. And they charged him to the point where he pled guilty to reckless like something, because they're saying he should have known that she was on the back of the truck. Literally, she had no shoes on. So she ran out the house, hopped in his truck. He sped off, and she fell and hurt herself like really bad. She lost her memory, had to have surgeries and everything. So I feel that lady did it to herself. But they hit him with the charge, saying that he should have known that she was on the back of the pickup truck. So I say all that to say that that's why they have an investigation. Even if she laid there unconscious but was still breathing, and the fire truck came around and wasn't paying attention and swerving, trying to get to their call, they could have killed her. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, but all of it could have been prevented.
Has she not been twerking?
Yeah.
What did her parents say? We all did something dangerous when we was kids. That's it. That's a consequence for doing something dangerous as a young adult with high risk behavior, an undeveloped brain not fully mature, and that's the consequence. It's sad, and I'm not making fun of it, but as a young adult, you got to welcome these consequences. When you cruising and people riding on the back of buses and all type of things, and it was tragic. But that would be the investigation part, because what if the fire truck killed her? Then her parents is gonna get some money out of it.
I'm like, if you in the middle of the road, I'm like, you ain't supposed to be in the middle of the road.
We don't know if she was in the middle of the road. She might have been on the side of the road, on the sidewalk. We don't know.
So you think that the fire truck came up on the sidewalk on its way to put out a fire?
No, I did I say sidewalk? No, I mean on the side of the road, but not necessarily in the middle of the road. We don't know if the car she was in was turning, going fast. We don't have anything.
Forget about the firefighters, right? I think it's one or two things, right? Either she was bad at twerking, which is why she fell off, or it was a bad driver that distracted, that messed up her good twerking performance and made her fall off.
Either way, we don't know how she died. That's why we need an autopsy.
Yeah, we need an autopsy. We don't need a police investigation. We just,
Yeah, you do. You need a police investigation, because that would be determined based on the autopsy whether there's criminal charges to be filed against a firefighter or even the EMS workers if they was on the scene and left her laying there instead of putting her in the back of the cargo. It could be somebody else's fault that the continuance of this tragedy happened. You like that word, continuance?
Yeah, I guess. I just hearing the story initially, I thought it was very open and shut, but I guess.
You sound like you got questions too. You look like you got questions. Your face says, I have a question.
Kind of.
All right. R.I.P. to the twerk. R.I.P. to the twerk.
Twerk at your own safety.
There you go. At risk. All right. Next video, we got some more road activity going on. Let's see what this is.
Yo, the bitch just shit on her car!
So yeah, this has been going very viral.
I got a question. I'll let you speak, and I definitely have a question. That's crazy.
All right. So let me give you a little bit of context. Have you heard about this story?
Did not.
So basically, it was a traffic altercation or whatever, right? Like they got into it. They get to a red light or a stop sign or whatever, and then she gets out of the car and does that to the other car, right? Now, she was arrested, right, for disposing of hazardous waste on a public highway or something like that, right?
Bodily
and her
fluids.
response,
I said bodily fluids.
Yeah. And her response to that was, my shit is clean. Did you see how it just came out and I didn't have to wipe? I was like, whoa.
That was her response? Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy. So now I have questions.
Because when I heard about the story, and then there was people talking about it, right? And everybody who's talking about it is like, so she just got back in her car with mud butt?
Yep. I got a question. How long was she holding that diarrhea? Because that was diarrhea. How long was she holding it?
How do you shit on command?
Well, I mean, she might have
no performance anxiety at all.
She could have, she could be very skillful at, channeling that kind of energy to make it happen. That was definitely diarrhea. And how long was she holding it, or was that a spontaneous utterance?
People are like, well, that might be better than coming out with a bat and causing damage to the car and all this type of stuff. You just hose that off or something, but who wants to handle somebody else's waste or whatever? I'm like,
she got locked up smelling like diarrhea. That's a guarantee. Her car had to smell like diarrhea. She had on shorts, right? Summertime, it's hot. That's crazy. No enclosure, no pants, nothing. That's crazy. And she said she didn't have to wipe. Oh, she had to wipe. She didn't want to wipe. But based on what I see, she had to wipe. She didn't want to wipe, but she had to wipe.
I'm like, after seeing that, you don't ever want to drink Yoo-Hoo again.
I agree. That's crazy. Well, I hope it works out for her. I hope she get a dismissal based on
Can you file an insurance claim to get the car detailed?
That's on the hood. The hood was slanted. It was sloped downwards. It might have went into the little great openings. Oh man, that's nasty. And they locked her. This person actually called the police to get her locked up for that. I wouldn't even want my face nowhere in the news for that story. I wouldn't have called anybody.
You would have just let it go?
I'm not going to the police with that story. Not me, not my car.
It's on video.
They don't know who I am. I'm peeling off. Now I'm out. Skirt. I'm out of there. Nah. Nope. I don't need nobody to see my car with diarrhea on it. Like, yo, that was you?
No, but I'm like, people are saying, like, why didn't she like try to maneuver the car or hit her with the car or something, like something to in the midst of,
back up. She could have backed up. Or maybe she didn't know what she was. I mean, the moment I see you about to, do the little, like, you going to the bathroom motion, I would have just backed up. Like, I would have backed up the moment you started to approach.
I'm like, car. I don't know if there was a car behind her, though.
I didn't see a car behind her. I would have backed up because you don't know if she's going to do anything to the car, bang it up, scratch it, whatever. So I don't think that person was paying attention, or they just not as quick as I am, because I would have backed up and got out of there. I would have backed up, gave myself enough room, and went someplace else. I'm not doing road rage because I don't know what the person's intentions are. That's scary. All right, well, that's on them. Let's go with the next one. We got another poop. We got another poopity poop. Let's play this one. Let's see what's going on with it.
Just when you think you've heard it all, you hear that they're making your meat out of feces now.
They just made meat from your number 2. Japanese scientists have developed a method to create edible steaks from human feces. Unbelievable? Well, it's happening. Mitsuyuki Aikida, a researcher at the Okayama laboratory, collaborated with Tokyo Sewage to address sewage mud excess. They discovered the content in the mud contains high protein due to bacteria. So, the team isolated and combined these proteins with a reaction enhancer. Result? synthetic steak. The meat comprises of 63% protein, 25% carbs, 3% lipids, and 9% minerals. And it's visually enhanced with food coloring for a red hue and improved flavor using soy protein.
Ask me if you're even surprised. When they came out with the lab meat, they tell you it's protein. Protein is protein. People come up to my comment section all the time, tell me I don't know science, that chemicals are chemicals and protein is protein. If that's the case, enjoy it. I'm not going to eat it. You choose what goes in your body. You choose to be a scientist or not. The choice is simply up to you.
And I'm going along with that choice of not doing what I should say that all the videos that come in this section are visual aids for diet. Like you watch this section of the No Cap News Recap and you won't be hungry anymore.
And that's why I got I'm about to make a garden bed filled with I was deciding on which vegetable to go with. And I think that spinach would be my ideal one. Spinach and carrots, probably, right? Because I love carrot juice. And I have some spinach growing right now, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not a meat eater like that. Like recently, I've been finding myself eating a little bit more of meat. Like if I'm going out and someone else is serving it, I'm like, hey, you know, I'm grateful for them offering me food, but I'm mostly vegan. And then I love seafood. And I'm like, recently it's just been in my head, like, you know what? I really need to like dive deeper into this whole vegetation thing. And this is another reason why. Like this just reinforced my idea. I'm going to make a nice bed of spinach and carrots and some potatoes and garden year round, build my greenhouse hub thing with it and just eat that every day. That's it. I got some rice and that's the reason why. Thanks for confirming that for me today. That story, we did another story of the chicken and the 2 restaurants, right? It's getting crazy.
So either are we running out of animals or something? Like why are we even doing these experiments? And we're
running out of animals
that should be tailor-made for convicted inmates. Like this is part of the punishment. This isn't something that should be offered to free people that have done no wrong. There's no reason why you should be subjected to that in any way, not even by accident.
They're literally going into the sewage and collecting it and spooning around with it. Now, I believe in science. I've said it before. I was a pre-med student on my way to the skies. But I just think that we are too cocky as human beings that we just want to try everything. We want to be that there's a thing about doctors where doctors are very competitive. And that's why you always come up with these new inventions, new discoveries, research. And, that's why certain hospitals are the best hospitals because the doctors there are very competitive, and we just don't want to leave things alone. Like, why are we digging around in sewage? That's crazy to me. I mean, the other one we talked about, the chicken, they did the stem cell, transplant, but now we're going into sewage and spooning out stuff from there to test it out to see how much protein is mixed in with the bacteria and excavating the protein. We're separating the protein from the other. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, I'm reinforced. I'm definitely like, let me finish my gardening. Like, this is crazy. I've been eating strawberries for the past couple of weeks now since it's been spring. I've been like growing strawberries, eating them. I got grapes growing in right now. And it's like, and you don't need a lot of land to do this. You don't need a lot of anything to grow some vegetation for yourself and have a healthier choice. This is really disgusting. I'm not impressed with this clip at all. It's nasty. But thank you. This is a reinforcement that I just got to keep on with the keeping ons. I eat salad every day.
As we continue into the next one, we got some more.
This is crazy.
He says he was forced to make old food look fresh. That's why he secretly recorded his supervisor admitting tampering with best before dates is industry standard.
Every store does the same thing. All the other stores do the same.
At his home, Safari demonstrates what he says is done at work. He takes cheesecakes weeks past their best before dates, adds new toppings, and sells as fresh.
I decorate it, and I'm selling expired stuff for...
In a national online call-out, Marketplace hears from grocery workers at smaller stores and big chains, sharing stories of food tampering. He used to work in a Toronto area supermarket. He shows us how he was told to give old meat new life.
If it's like this, we would dabble in a little bit of blood, throw it into the meat mincer with some redder meats, and then all together it would make it look red. And then we put it back up on the shelf.
At the University of Guelph, a microbiologist simulated what grocery insiders told us they do. He discovered toxins and bacteria linked to serious illness.
Yeah, we go right into the next one because it's more.
Yeah, well, that's
chicken in the grocery store. You can buy a whole chicken, $8, a raw chicken. So you think when it goes rotted, when it starts to rot, if that was your inventory, you throw it away? No. Right before it goes rotten, they roast it and sell it to you for $16. Oh, you think that's garbage after that roasted chicken goes rotten? When that roasted chicken is about to go rotten, you know what they do? They chop it up and put curry on it, and it's at that grocery store's buffet. And now they sell it to you for $5 a pound. And they got 8 pounds.
All right, so now it's Damon John of Shark Tank and Fubu.
How did he have to be a commentator on food? What was that about?
I don't necessarily know how he knows what he knows, but you know, this is it seems industry standard.
There's an app called Good to Go. And you can go to different restaurants, food stores, and they have product that is about to expire, and they give it to you, or they sell it at a discounted price. There's an app called Good to Go, Too Good to Go. They're not a sponsor of us, but that it's becoming a thing that people are willing to eat. Almost.
And after you mentioning them in this particular section, I don't think that they would be.
They might in the future. You never know. I'm just saying, like right now, you know, maybe they would have a conversation with us behind the scene to help us clean this all up. But yeah, there's an app, and people are getting into eating food that's almost expired. That's becoming a trend. So why wouldn't a restaurant save some money and repurpose their food if people are willing to buy it, you know, at different places or eat it, even if it was given to them for free? They'd rather eat it, but then they wouldn't buy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm like,
so are we doing something good or not as consumers? That becomes the question. Because if we're not willing to eat almost expired food, then we can't really sit here and say, oh, wow, it's almost expired. They didn't throw it away. No, because you're willing to eat almost expired food. So why would they throw it away?
Like, they need to there needs to be just a disclaimer. Like, this is repackaged or something.
Yeah. And give people the choice. Because at home, you may have something that says expire in 2 days. You're going to use it. You're not going to throw it out. You may test it to see if it's bad early, but you'll use it until that expiration date. But we expecting a business to have this greater good philosophy of, well, we shouldn't do that because we're a business, but nah. If you're spending your money, you know, let there be a choice in that. But he said the chicken is almost expired. They repurpose it. I'm fine with that. City Harvest gives away food all of the time. They collect food that restaurants prefer not to use because it's close to being expired, and they give it away to the church pantries, and people collect it for free and they go home with it. So some people are willing to eat food that is almost expired. Just give people a choice. Once you take away people's choice to something, that's where it becomes a problem. But I'm not with the poop story. I'm not with that pooping story. That one is, we're not going to repurpose that. I'm not with that one. Free or at a discount price. We're not repurposing that one.
Now,
so what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was saying in regards to our previous story about the McDonald's French fries, there's actually something going on with the chicken nuggets. It
So
says
McDonald's
carcinogenic substance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you come with those words because I can't pronounce that.
And I'm supposed to know them. Why? Because I was going to go to med school. Carcinogenic substance, thiamine, mononitrate.
Exactly. So that's why I went to you, because I knew that you would know how to say it.
And that's used in construction to hold the roads together. It's like a bonding agent. Essentially, that's what it is.
Yeah, and that's why I haven't eaten McDonald's chicken nuggets in a long time. Like I tried it when they came out with the spicy nuggets, which was like 2020 or something like that. But before that, it was maybe decades or something. Like their chicken nuggets is trash out of all the chicken nuggets from fast food.
I disagree that they're trash, but in how they're made, it's a problem. Now, here's the thing, right? Let's unpack this carcinogenic substance, right? How do we know that this substance wasn't being used in the food first, and then the idea was to put it in the cement to make a stronger bonding agent? Would that be okay to eat?
No. And I'll tell you why. If you know anybody or have heard any stories about prison, right? The toothpaste that they sell at commissary is basically glue. They take the toothpaste, put it on the wall, and they stick pictures to the wall with the toothpaste. It's that strong, right? I don't think that toothpaste is safe either. I'm like,
okay, well, hold on. We can make the same claim about mixing flour and water together. That's glue also used to bond paper.
Do you eat? I'm like,
you eat flour.
Yeah, but I don't eat it just.
You eat it. You eat bread is flour, cake is flour. You eat flour, and it's used as a glue for paper. You wet it.
I think the key word, right, is carcinogenic.
Say that word again.
Carcinogenic. It's a substance. It's like, that's the stuff that's in like the cigarettes and mold and all types of, like, no.
Carcinogenic, is that the substance, or that's the reaction that it causes? That's the effect of it?
Yeah, I guess it's the words that I can't say have a carcinogenic effect.
Oh gosh. Okay, so the toothpaste they use in prison as a glue. I just gave you that flour and water. If you mix it, it becomes a paste. You make glue with that as well.
Would you brush your teeth with flour and water?
Huh?
Would you brush your teeth with flour and water?
No, but the toothpaste.
That's my point.
So they brush their teeth with the toothpaste, but because it has a sticky texture to it, it can be used as an adhesive. That doesn't make it dangerous. We need to know what the ingredients.
It's an adhesive, but when it hardens, Is you know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah,
tape,
but the same with
where it's
flour.
sticky all the time. It hardens.
No, we need to know what the ingredients is, because the same thing, that the same case could be made with flour. If you mix flour with water, you can make a paste out of it and you can glue things down. It's used in arts and crafts. We need to know what the ingredients is in the toothpaste in the prison system. It operates like a glue, but it's not a glue. So this stuff that operates like a bonding agent may not be a bonding agent.
All right. I'll go with you because I see you really trying to get us a McDonald's endorsement or something. So, all right.
You see? Oh, now you with me. Now you we can get some French fries. We don't have to eat the nuggets, but we can get some French fries. You know what I'm saying? We could get some French fries. We got to get the nuggets, but we can get some French fries as an endorsement. See, now you're on the same page as me. No, but we have to be careful what we're eating, and that's why we're doing better with the ingredients. I went to Popeyes the other day to pick up some food for someone, and they had they said this symbol means a high intake of sodium, right? When I looked on the menu, every item up there had that warning symbol. I said, damn.
Yeah.
What could you
I've noticed that in the recent months as I've been doing a little calorie counting and whatnot. And the daily intake of sodium, the daily intake of calories, and most fast food restaurants, everything on the menu has that.
Everything had a symbol, a warning symbol. I said, wow, you can't even come in here. But we are getting better with the transparency that, hey, if you want to eat what you want to eat, this is what's in it. It's your choice. Make your day, do what you want, live your life how you want to do it. But when you are 75 years old and you can barely move and you don't feel youthful, it could be because of all the choices you've made years before. That energy that you don't have. It's important to have a healthy diet. That's like if you're a person that gardens, it's symbolic that you make sure your garden is kept clean and nurtured, because that's what allows the plants to grow. You get to harvest your food because you've nurtured the process of what it takes to grow healthy food. And we got to do the same thing with our body. So it's scary, but those nuggets, they still hit. I'm just saying. But
today is Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully when we do this next story, they just don't know about it.
Okay, so since we talking about bonding, let's see.
All right, so Chick-Fil-A, which is closed on Sundays, got something going on. And this story kind of broke my heart.
Because you're a Chick-Fil-A fan?
Yeah, Chick-Fil-A is supposed to be, the safest, the tastiest, the best customer service. And there's a lot of Black women that work there. So, going back as a callback to the first story, I'm debunking what he said, because everybody at Chick-fil-A is nice as hell.
The customer service there is good with the Black women. See, there you go. But now they got can you pronounce that word?
Defoaming?
Oh man, dimethyl. You see the methyl? Anything with the THYL is alcohol.
Oh, I was looking at the word at the defoaming agent, or the methyl. Okay, the methyl. I don't. How many syllables is this word? This word got this. This is like one of them keyboard tests where like the fox jumped over the lazy dog. This has like every letter in the alphabet in this word.
Okay, let me go at it. Dimethyl polysylosane. Go Al. Should have went to medical school, Al. But that's it. So there's a bit of you see the ethyl in there. There's a bit of alcohol in there. Poly is
you telling me I can get drunk off the chicken fillet?
That's polymer. See the poly has to do with plastic resin, stuff like that. Like I used to be good with breaking down all these words based on the periodic table. For those that know, if you know, you know. But yeah, this is dangerous.
Let me find out she was a black Walter White out there cooking.
I would have been the best customer service black female doctor out. That's it. That's what I would have been. But you know, now I'm involved in this stuff. What we doing here, entertaining the people. So shout out to
from med school to YouTube.
There you go. But this is a sticky situation here. You know, this again, it's about choice. You know that first of all, you know, it's basic stuff, right? Anywhere in the country or any farm and anything they kill, they eat it right away, right? Because we know once you kill it, you eat it. Now you put it in the freezer is going to preserve it for some time. Now imagine a store that they're in the business of serving you food. They have to do whatever they can to make sure that food stays preserved. And so you're going to find more chemicals. That's just the knowledge and what it is.
No, so but I'm like, as much as them Chick-fil-A lines be around the corner out the door, like that food ain't gonna go to waste. Especially on a Saturday night, because it has to be trucked in
on Sunday. That food has to be trucked in somehow. It has to go from the farm to the plant to trucked in. It still needs to be preserved. Still. I've seen the pickup lines outside with the bikes, with the Uber, DoorDash. It looks like a party outside of Chick-fil-A in Brooklyn. Like that place has a cluster of pickups 24/7 whenever I drive past.
Yeah, so I'm like, the South had it on lock. We just now got Chick-fil-A. I'm like,
yeah.
We're like, we're gonna be kids in the candy shop for the Chick-fil-A for a few decades or something.
Because it just came up north. But you know, the fact is that this is not, it's new news because it's a new story. But we gotta know that they're putting this ingredients in almost everything that we're eating and drinking. And so some people really do.
I want to know, did they put some sort of crazy drug concoction, whatever, in that Popeyes chicken sandwich that made people go crazy? Because people was losing their minds for that Popeye chicken sandwich.
You know, eating is one of your senses and it triggers your brain. So eating is tied to emotions. So that happy juice, like the ingredients in food is tied to that. So every time a person eats something that tastes really good, how do you feel? You feel great when you eat something so tasty. So there's a science behind it. And the more dimethyl polysilicate that they put in it, the happier you'll be, the more money they're going to make. That's a long word. Dimethyl polysilicate. That's a long word. But emotions are tied to eating. So if you can tap into a person's emotions, you got them. And that's what food does. That's why obesity is a problem in this country. Unhealthy eating. I don't want to say obesity because you have obese people for so many different reasons, right? But unhealthy eating in this country is a huge problem. It really is.
I'm like, healthy eating costs way too much.
Well, you better get a pot and grow some seeds and eat from that, and you'll be all right. A pack of seeds is $2. So you can eat healthy and full. You can grow cherry tomatoes. You can grow cucumbers. You can grow spinach, eggplants. I got some eggplants growing in. Like, there's no excuse for that. People are planting in their apartments. They're putting their stuff in the window on the fire escape. They're having full gardens everywhere. There's no excuse. If you want change, you'll make the change.
See, me being the merchandising person that I am, I'm thinking that we should have branded like pot-shaped caps, and we should sell some no-cap news cap seeds for them people to plant.
We can do that. Would it be proprietary? No, it wouldn't be, because Caesar seeds. Yeah, we could do some stuff. We could do some stuff. We can do some stuff. But yeah, is that deterring you from eating Chick-fil-A or no?
It's making me second guess. I ain't saying it's stopping me, but it's making me second guess. Okay. I think I might have to go to Wingstop.
Well, what would you rather eat? A Chick-fil-A sandwich or someone's feet?
Chick-fil-A sandwich.
All right. Well, now we got a story of somebody wanting to lick on somebody's feet. Let's see that one.
All right. So MTA cleaner was arrested for paying a woman $20 so he could rub her feet while he pleasured himself on a Queens subway platform.
Playing around with feet. I'd rather eat a Chick-fil-A sandwich. How about that? Now, how did they know?
But I'd rather the feet thing than eat the poop.
Yeah, if I had to choose one, yeah. I just finished watching this movie on streaming platform. I got to get out of the habit of mentioning names because they don't pay money, right? They're not spending money with us. So they have this movie about that Alpine plane, the plane that crashed in the Alpines, right? And some of the people there that survived, they made a decision to eat some of the other people there that had died on the plane. And because it was very cold, their bodies were preserved, so they were eating them for days at a time. But, for survival reasons, I would eat anything that has dimethyl polysiloxane in it, just for the record, if it was about surviving. But this story here,
how do you go to your comrade's family and be like, hey, man, I ate your family member's remains. There won't be a funeral.
No, you disclosing too much. You just say we don't know where the body is. Like, what are you talking about? You gonna tell on yourself? Why would you do that? I would just be like, I have a letter that they wrote to you. Here's a letter they wrote. It's a letter that, like, why would I disclose that I ate your daughter?
There's a movie about it. Obviously, they told somebody.
I'm not telling. Somebody on the plane may have told, but I'm not telling. I'll deny. I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about. I didn't eat anybody. I don't know what he's talking about. But back to this story. So did the lady take his $20 and dip? Or was she an undercover MTA worker? I'm trying to figure that out. How you take his $20, let him rub your feet, and then he get locked up for it? He paid. He wasn't supposed to get locked up. He already paid, yo.
I'm like, maybe it was solicitation or something like that. He was because I'm like,
he paid. Wait,
but there's still, like, if you go up to a sex worker,
solicitation, yeah. It didn't happen. The act didn't happen, but they still got you for an attempt. Got it. That's like To Catch a Predator show. That guy, he had to change the format of the show actually because To Catch a Predator, they weren't able to arrest these people because they had to change the laws, right? So people were getting caught, but then they weren't being charged. Now he has that new show where people are attempting the act and they're getting locked up and being sentenced and everything, even though it didn't happen. So
no, have you seen these clips online where random people are just setting up these things like Catch a Predator, and when the person shows up, they beat the shit out of them and record it?
No, but that's street justice. But no, I have not seen it. I gotta look that up. That's crazy. Oh my God, that's crazy. So this guy was tricked into paying $20 and got locked up for it. And he's gonna lose his job.
I don't know, like
how
like you know how Betty Ford came in and was like, we got to stop these drugs. I'm setting up a Betty Ford Center and all this type of stuff. There needs to be, and then she named it after herself. There needs to be a Sean Diddy Combs Center where freaks go for rehab.
What is Betty Ford?
You know, like the drug rehab center, and she was the first lady, Gerald Ford's wife.
Oh, wait, the president?
Yeah.
His wife set up rehab centers?
Yes. You never heard of the Betty Ford centers?
No. Wait, this was before. Was this before the Rick Ross days?
Yes, because he was president in like the 70s.
Oh my God. Wow. So they couldn't do anything about the drugs. So she set up these centers that she owned?
Yeah, because you remember Nixon, the whole thing was the war on drugs. So, you know.
Wait, Nixon, was he Watergate? Or that was somebody else?
Yeah, that was Nixon. And then after him was Gerald Ford.
Wow. And she made money off of it.
I don't know about I would assume so. I don't know.
Okay, so we need to have a P. Diddy center for stuff like this.
Yeah, you know, because people talk about sex addictions and all. No, you just need to have like, I'm a freak. I got some wild fetishes. Cure me.
Okay, so is there something wrong with paying someone $20 to rub your feet? Is there really something wrong with that?
It's not wrong to pay somebody $20 to rub your feet because that's just a massage. But to rub their feet, that's where it gets freaky.
No, he was paying her so he could rub her feet.
Yeah, that's where it gets freaky.
Why he pleasured himself, but is that illegal?
Yes, I'm like, the whole pleasuring himself part is where it becomes illegal. Like if you just said, you know, let me rub your feet, or I rub your feet rubbing, you know, kind of similar to the assistant principal we did this story about, you know, that's not inherently illegal, but you know,
once you touch your private area, it is.
Yeah. It's like indecent exposure or something. I don't know.
He was paying her. I don't really see the problem with it. He offered to pay.
Maybe she thought it was too low of a price. She was like,
see, I don't like her.
She's like, you insulted me with this such low of a price that I got to go to the cops now.
I don't like her. How about that? He offered to pay. He wasn't trying to get nothing for free. He offered to pay. Come on.
She's like, you lowballed me. Now I got to put you behind bars.
Okay. Well, how about this other story? Let's get into this one. Wait. Yeah, let's do this one. Hold on. Setting this up right. Okay, so what now? Maybe if he had offered to pay, would this have been a problem? Like, you know, the biases that come with this stuff here. Like,
I'm like, for him to have done what he didn't seem like he was taking no for an answer.
On the train? On the train.
And they talk, and the mayor and the governor, everybody, the trains are safer than they've ever been. The fuck they have. I'm like,
I need more details.
Women all the time being like, it's dangerous for women. I'm like, no, it's equally dangerous now. I gotta watch my ass. All right.
Listen. You know, some people be capping, all right? This is a no cap news recap news show, right? Some people do cap, right? So a friend of mine, her daughter had used her Uber account and ordered food. Like her daughter was ordering McDonald's every day when she got home from school so The mother didn't know that, she didn't pay attention. So she finally saw the bill, the transaction. So I had a conversation with the daughter. So the mother goes, I want her to go downtown to the courthouse so she could see what's going on in the courthouse. So I take the daughter downtown and we sit in court and we're listening to all these different cases, right? I mean, like some big stuff, like assault stuff, no petty crime things. The problem I have with that is that because of this whole new reform and law and everything, and bail and bond, a lot of these people were leaving the courtroom after they saw the judge, right? And I'm like, damn, what kind of example are we setting here if she's watching these people be accused of something and they leave? They don't have to post bail. They don't get held. And so one guy had claims he got assaulted by another guy. And they're reading the complaint. And the judge, they were like cross complaints against each other. And the judge let the first guy go. So the first guy comes and sits in the benches next to me. But I didn't know who he was, right? Because I had stepped out to make a phone call. So when I came back to sit in my spot, that guy had sat there. So now I'm hearing the second complainant. And this story sounds confusing, but it's really simple. So now they're reading complaint and the second guy, and the second guy is saying that the first guy like tried to rape him in the apartment and beat him up and all this other stuff. And so the judge is like, all right, released. We're going to come back to court or whatever. But while they're going through all this stuff, the guy next to me is like, man, he's bullshit. That he's lying. He's lying. I was like, you think he's lying? He goes, yeah, he's talking about me. He was like, I didn't rape him. He was like, we met on the street. He was like, we met on the street. And then he invited me to his place. I was like, really? He was like, yeah, he's lying. I didn't assault him. I was like, oh. So how they let you out or something? He goes, yeah, I have to come back to court, but he's lying. I'm like, oh, okay. So I say all that to say that this accusation may or may not be. So
no, well,
I don't know.
They got this dude's picture, and he looked like he's fresh home from prison and is homesick for a 2-man cell.
Look, you never know when it comes to men. Men are they're still ashamed and hidden for certain activities, so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's an accusation. I'm not trying to say that he's lying, but it happened on the train, where, during the day, during the night, late night, like how, conductors around, police around. You got the MTA cleaners that we now know be roaming the trains. So I don't know. We don't have any video, right?
And he hasn't even been caught. This is a Crime Stoppers. We're giving a PSA right now. You see the number at the top of the image? Like, he's on the loose. Which means I will not be on the train until he's caught.
We want him caught, people. Help NYPD out. Let's keep city crime down. But we're having fun with this, but in all seriousness, it's never okay to assault people sexually. And we now know it's not even okay to pay someone to rub their feet. Like, that's not good either.
It's okay as long as you don't pleasure yourself to it.
Yeah, you can't touch yourself, but you can touch the other person and pay them. So speaking of pays and payments, what is it going to take to earn billions of dollars? What would you do to earn billions of dollars if someone said to you, you got to do this first, then I'll give you billions of dollars? So
we got Verizon wanting to merge or wants to purchase Frontier Communications. I ain't never heard of that. I thought Frontier was an airline or something. But anyway, for $9.6 billion. And then the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, is requiring Verizon to, tell DEI to kick rocks.
Yeah. They're getting real slick about this DEI. They're getting real slick about it in a lot of companies. They're finding ways to just get rid of it silently without letting.
No, but this is not a company that's telling, like, they're like, no, you can't make money in the private sector, B2B, business to business, without the government coming in and saying, get rid of the DI. Like, this is
we're talking communications. That's something different because they control everything that we watch, listen to, hear, all of that. They control everything. So this is something different. And what's the whole story with this? We don't know.
All right, so you're telling me if I wanted to be a black telecom mobile and only hire fellow black people that may have graduated from HBCUs or something like that, the government's going to say, hey, no, you can't be a company.
No, they're saying you got to get rid of the DI programs. Don't make it a program that you hire all black people. That's all. Stop putting initiatives on the bulletin board.
I can do it. I just can't create a program dedicated.
Don't put initiatives on the bulletin board in the lunchroom. How about that?
I'm like, that's basically like the OJ, if I did do it book. Like, what?
Right. Listen, we built the Underground Railroad. We know how to get under some stuff now. Come on, this is nothing. We know how to get under some stuff. We built the Underground Railroad. What you talking about? We couldn't even write and we built the Underground Railroad. We could get under some stuff. They're not threatening us when we want to hire all black. They can't stop us. We do that now anyway. We can't be stopped when we want an all black mob of people coming through. We know how to do it. Word of mouth. Stay off the phones. Stay off the internet. Just pull up.
See, I'm like, you can't be this administration is doing too much. Like,
they are.
If you want to make it all American, right? Like American made or all this type of stuff, that's cool. But then you wanted to say no DI on top of that. Like you just doing too much. Like you only been in office 5 months. Like slow your roll.
Control. They want to control it all, but there's ways around that. There's ways around it. But again, this is a very specific industry we're talking. We're talking telecommunications, which they control. So, maybe Verizon need to go buy something else. Go purchase something else. Go purchase some daycares or something, just nothing to do with communications and they might be all right. I mean, if I had an option to buy one thing or another, I'll move on. I wouldn't get rid of whatever I thought was good for my company. I find something else to purchase. But obviously, Frontier Communication has a lot of money. They're bringing in a lot of money for them to want to buy it for $9.6 billion. That means the valuation on that is in the trillions. You know what I mean? So speaking of billions and trillions, what we doing about this Diddy? What's going on with this? What we talking about?
It went down this week 1. I'm like,
I want to hear about that.
Have been acting like his.
Huh?
Say it again.
I don't want to hear about him and Cassie. Like, I could care less. I've seen domestic violence run through my family, not my life. Well, yeah, when I was younger, right? That's been a normal thing. But as an adult, I've never been in a domestic violence relationship. I understand how they happen, how you could be trapped in them. You can't get out of it. I want to know about the RICO stuff, how he had these young girls. I want to know about that picture with the girl laying in the middle of all the fruit and they're eating around that. That's what I want to know about. I don't really care about Cassie.
People act like week 1 of the trial is the whole trial. This thing is supposed to go on.
That's exactly how they,
It's going on for 8 weeks. And this is not a civil case where it's Cassie versus Diddy. No, she's just victim one of the prosecution's case. There's going to be many more victims.
Yep.
And people are speculating that victim 3 is the girl Gina that he was with, that Cassie said she was jealous of, but yet Diddy kicked that baby out of her.
Mm. Well, I want to know what he was doing with the young. I want to know what he was doing with the young girls. Cassie, she left Ryan Leslie to go be with him. Okay, you don't deserve to get beat up, but you left something to go over there because it was riper over there. So this is a consequence that comes out of that. And sometimes we make really big mistakes in our lives, and they're very painful mistakes. And sometimes the pain outweigh the decision that was made for years to come. You know, the manipulation, the back and forth, just being in love with a person can make you do things that you probably shouldn't be doing under, a normal scope. But I don't really care about that part. I just want to hear about how he treated other women.
No, I'm like, we saw her get that ass whooping.
Right.
She didn't deserve the ass whooping, but the ass whooping is not necessarily, we've seen that. We saw that last year.
We can't say that she deserved that. We can't say that she deserved an ass whipping. We don't know.
No, I can't say that she didn't deserve it.
You saying she did it or she did deserve it?
I said she didn't deserve it.
Oh, I thought you said she did. I was trying to not let the show get canceled. I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm saying she didn't deserve it.
Right? Sound like you said she did deserve to get her ass beat. I'm like, wait, hold on. Subscribers, don't leave. Don't leave. Subscribers, don't leave.
I'll say it again. She did not deserve to get her ass beat. Now, that is not the sensational thing, because we saw that last year. He copped to that just as quick as he settled with her, right? And we learned what the settlement amount was 20 million. And she got the other 10 from the hotel that hit it. So, with all of this, right? I'm like, it's the freaky shit that I'm like,
he settled with her
to the freaky shit, but the freaky shit is so freaky that I'm like, he should go to jail for that freaky shit.
He gave her 20 million for that video fight?
No, for the whole, the whole complaint in its entirety that she made when she sued him.
20 million.
Yeah, 20 million. And then the hotel came in and said, all right, here go another 10, because we don't need them type of problems. They
paid her 10 million.
Yeah.
She finally got record deal money, huh? Wow. Because he owned all the publishing. I mean, his mother does. His mother.
You think she was writing songs? Like, I mean, and she hasn't written any songs that were big hits or anything. Like, she's on a 10-album contract. She only put out one album.
She was on a 10-album contract, boy. That contract is still in effect.
So let's get into the freaky shit. That did you hear the testimony of all the stuff this week?
I heard the freak offs. I heard them reading text messages. There were times when she wanted it, there's times when she didn't. He was blackmailing her with the content, saying, I got some stuff on you. I didn't go into reading them. I've just been hearing what people were reading, but I don't really care about the domestic violence. I just want to know.
I'm talking about, that's not domestic violence. That is, I
want to hear them talk about him organizing the movement, how things was moving around, picking up girls, flying them, all that stuff. That's what I want to know about.
That's what they talked about. That it wasn't girls, it was guys. The escort, the male escorts that he was hiring, flying them in, and her identifying all of them, and because there was a dozen or something of them.
But he hired them, right? He hired them, right? Or no?
Yeah, he hired them.
Are you allowed to hire an escort?
if they're escorting you somewhere, but not for sex, because that's prostitution.
So there's text message that they were hiring them.
The escorts are getting on the stand. One of them got on the stand before Cassie.
And he testified.
And I'm like, when Jonathan Oddie comes out, that's gonna be crazy, because Jonathan Oddie had came out in like 2018 or something after he shot up the Trump Hotel or something like that in Florida, and was like, yeah, you know, I was in these freak offs with Diddy and all this stuff, and people thought he was
crazy. Yeah.
So
they thought he was crazy.
So it's all about, you know, it's the racketeering is, all right, we're going across state lines for the purpose of these freak offs.
Yeah.
You know, Cassie is procuring them, you know, she's answering Backpage or Craigslist ads for escorts and stuff.
Yeah.
All of that. So that's where it becomes, you know, and then she's getting beat, right? And then, you know, you have people like D-Rock and you know, all these other security people that were covering that up.
Yeah.
So that's where it becomes a conspiracy and racketeering.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
You know, and then
that guy Jonathan
is trafficking.
That guy Jonathan, I remember watching his story on Dateline. I remember watching part of his story on Dateline before Diddy. I remember just watching his story where he was saying something about Diddy. I remember watching his interrogation interview, and they thought it was crazy. So the escorts were dealing with her and him, or just her?
Okay, so you obviously don't. All right, yeah, it was mostly her, and he was like a voyeur, but you know, they would be inside of her, and he would be inside of her mouth, and you know, like a train type of situation, and they said that they took a kiddie pool, an inflatable kiddie pool, and filled it up with the oil, the baby oil, and that's why he, you know, they're saying that there was so much. She said that she don't think that the baby oil was spiked, but you know, we'll see as the testimony goes along, and you know, if the feds actually tested it.
Yeah.
But all right, so the craziest thing out of all of this was she said that she had so many UTIs, right, that it was bacteria resistant.
I could believe that.
And then she was still doing freak offs while she had those. And that from so much fellatio she was given, she had sores in her mouth. And then she says that, you know, Diddy would have the guys peeing on her and in her mouth and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And you know, they're going through the text messages. Who asked for it? Was Diddy asking for it, or was Cassie asking for it? And if Cassie was asking for it, was Cassie asking for it, or was Cassie asking for it for Diddy?
Right.
But the ultimate, right, was the guys finish on her, right? And then she'll take it and then rub it on his nipples.
I'm not mad. Yo, this is their desires. You know, who are we to judge what they're doing? That's what they like. That's what they like. It just became an open book for the world. Everybody's into something kinky. Everybody.
I ain't into nothing like that.
But we all into something that we like. Just because you wouldn't do it, but somebody else is doing it, doesn't make it wrong. It might be like, wait, that's over the top for me. But if that's what they like, that's what they like.
But I'm like, when it comes to you're battering or beating somebody into compliance,
She was
because
compliant.
that's what they're saying is that Cassie was trying to escape a freak off, which is what led to the hotel video. Right. And she's trying to escape the freak off. And he's like, no, you're coming back.
Right, because he came out there with a towel, and the guy from the hotel testified that it was another man in the room.
Yeah, but I do love the young thug lawyer. I forgot his name off the top of my head, right? But he said this is like presidential suite, or like how do you see somebody sitting on the bed from the door at the hall?
Right. But he could have, what he said, but where did he say the guy was positioned at? Inside the bedroom or standing in the middle of the doorway? Depends on where the person is standing.
No, he said he was at the door. He said he never went in, but he said he saw the guy sitting on the bed.
Oh, that's wrong.
And he said, I
wrong.
I saw Cassie all, beaten up or whatever, but I didn't put the other guy's name in the report because
I remember that. Yeah.
I was just here for what was happening in the hallway, not what was happening in the room.
Right. Because sometimes you're not going to include everybody in the report if they don't have nothing to do with it. The fight was between Diddy and her. Why would he put the other guy in it? Other guy don't have nothing to do with it.
So why are you bringing it up now?
Because now we have to testify and questions is coming up. So now you're trying to be more detailed about everything that you saw. Little subtleties that matter now, you didn't think it mattered before. That's it. He already did the report, so it's already been done. It's already been said. His testimony is not, if I was a juror, it's not changing my mind one bit, because you're just a person doing your job. You're a civilian. So what you didn't think mattered then is he documented what mattered, which was Diddy and Cassie, not the other guy. Now that we know it's related to something bigger, well, let me tell y'all what else I saw. That's it. He's not changing he's not lying. He's adding more to the story. There's a difference. But the part about the being in the bed, and that's something that's probably, he might have went inside, because I'm sure they don't want that being discussed in the hallway. He probably went inside, but probably wanted to be like, I wasn't in the room, to kind of like free himself from actually being in the hotel room. He might have went inside and saw the guy on the bed, but for his own self was like, nah, I ain't going inside. I was just by the door. You know how some people want to like not be involved, like, nah, I don't have nothing to do with that.
But
that's
I'm like, with all them cameras that they had in the hallway, if he went in,
you would see. They would see it.
Yeah.
They would see it. Bring up the cameras. Cameras don't lie. So, wow, this is interesting. I'm
like, you got Dawn from Vanity Kane. She just testified.
I heard she's supposed to testify.
No, she already testified after Cassie on Friday.
Oh, she did. Oh, that's right, on Friday, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And she's Cassie's friend? I know she was writing for Cassie, I believe.
If she was writing for Cassie, that stuff never came out.
Oh, it didn't come
out. A lot of Cassie music that never came out.
It didn't come out. She was writing for Cassie, and this other girl was writing for Cassie. It didn't come out. So Dawn,
Dawn from Danny Kane, she was a part of the Diddy Dirty Money group that he had. So her group member was Kalina. She's Team Diddy, whereas Dawn has a lawsuit against Diddy right now. Whatever they threw out the what do you call it, the forcible employment claim or whatever that she had. But the other part of her lawsuit is still sticking or whatever. And she's saying that she saw Cassie, with a black or purple eye or whatever, beat up or whatever.
She might have. It's not a lie. They all know Cassie was getting beat up. So that happened. It happened, yo. She got beat up. It happened. Poor Cassie, man. I hope she's healed from this. It takes a while. This is definitely a lot of trauma. So how are you going to get to the courthouse? Who are they letting inside the room?
You got to be there. It sounds like you got to be there early, but you got the main courtroom and then they have an overflow courtroom. So if you get there significantly early, you should be able to get into one of those rooms and then if you're in the overflow room, try to see when somebody comes out so you can take their spot or whatever. In the
Thank
main
God
court.
this is the summertime. Thank God it's warm and not the winter. Because to have to stand out
No,
there.
I'd rather it the other way because less people would be involved. Now it's like it's hot outside, so now you have a whole bunch more people to contend with.
No, I think people would still stand up outside with their coffee, heated blankets, taking turns, hold my spot. I'm going to warm up in the car. I'll be back. I think that people would really make a project out of being there in the wintertime versus in the summer.
And I'm like, this is an 8-week trial, so it's more like a marathon. I'm like, they've gotten Cassie out of the way, so I think a lot of the media coverage will dwindle down now that the supposed star witness has testified.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah, I think it'll be a lot easier to get in there now.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll hear more about it this week. I'll try to tune in a little bit more so I can have some No Cap News recap feedback with you. But I did hear a lot of the stuff, from the radio this week. But Cassie, man, like she couldn't get out of that relationship. Could not get out of it. And some things become addiction. Sex is an addiction sometimes, But he definitely was threatening her with stuff.
And I'm like, they're both drug addicts, so
toxic relationship. Toxic.
And a lot of people are saying the defense didn't even make a dent in Cassie. So it's like, you can say, oh, he's losing the case now, but it's just the first week. So,
Listen, once you see that video of him stepping on her, she was
Forget about the video. We've seen the video. They showed still photos from the freak offs to the jury. Like nobody in the courtroom could see it. And it was, for the jury's eyes only, basically, right? And they had physical expressions like, clutching their chest and gasping at the photos that they saw. So,
but why? It's just sex. All right. Here's the thing.
If somebody's peeing into somebody's mouth, is that sex?
It is sex. That's what it's called. It's all the part of sex act. Right now, here's the thing. She was a willing participant until she wasn't a participant. And once the person says stop and no, I know I'm not willing, you stop. You become a threat when you are resisting what the person's telling you. That's it. But watching a video of her getting stomped out, that's violence. No one cares about the sex part. We care about the violence that this person gets handed on. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you stomping her out. That's what we care about. We don't care about the sex. That y'all are under the influence. Anything goes when you're under the influence. Anything.
Murder
happens under the influence. It does. But thank God she didn't die. So just watching that video, all that other stuff is irrelevant.
From there was a guy who had a video of the freak off, right? And she's threatening the guy, one of the escorts or whatever. Hey, I won't be the one who does something to you, but something gonna happen to you if you don't get rid of that video or give me the video or what have you, right?
Right.
And this is Cassie talking big and bad or whatever, and not playing necessarily the victim. But when you hear the story of the sex worker, they're like, yo, Cassie OD'd. And
in the video.
Yeah, and he pulled out his phone in the middle of the freak off because he was like, Diddy about to leave me with this body?
She wasn't even aware of what was going on. She's so out of it, Poor thing, man. She was a drug addict.
They said how many? She said hundreds, not 100, hundreds of freak offs.
Drugs, sex and drugs, powerful emotions. Powerful. But she got out of it, She stepped away and that's fine. But she should have stepped away and not sued. Like, yo, you suing? Nah, eat that. Take that L and get out of here. But he might have said something to her to make her resentful and be like, I'm gonna get you back. I did all this. I didn't even have a career. I'm broke. I ain't got no money coming in. I'm with you. I'm popular, but I still ain't got no money. You control everything. And resentment does hit us. Like, wait, hold on. Yo, you played me.
You got to think about it, right? Which is something we haven't brought up, is the fact that she's 8.5 months pregnant and on the stand. Like, the optics of that is crazy by itself. Like,
she's about to have a baby.
Yeah, I'm like, you got a pregnant woman crying on the stand. It's not enough that I stomped you out on the video, but now you have to tell the story while you're about to, you know.
Yep. And she couldn't refuse testifying. They subpoenaed her. So
No,
she already got the
but
money.
they said we got to get her in early. We can't build up the case. We have to get her in there early before she gives birth.
Yep. But this case been brewing. That lawsuit was incidental. They've been building this case on him. They've been building this case. That once that video came out, that was a ploy.
No, the video came out last May. They had raided his house in March. So the video was, just icing on the cake.
They've been building this for years to come, because they had to get in contact with all the people first and then get their videos and text messages. You can't get all that just like that. They had to connect the dots to all the people first, then gather all that stuff, then raid them, then lock in. We got them now. They've been building this case before our lawsuit. They've been building this. Somebody leaked something on Diddy. Somebody said something.
I always said that. I always believed that, because hey, I'm giving all my artists back their publishing just out of the kindness of my heart. But hey, before I give it to you, can you just sign this little non-disclosure,
NDA,
not to defame me or anything like that?
Yep. They've been working on this case. I want to know how this case first started. Did you look up the indictment? When did it start? When they did you look it up? Did you read the indictment?
I saw it. They have the dates of the act.
It?
No, they don't tell you when the investigation started. They just tell you what the case is, like from like 2008 to like basically present day. Like they're just going back to like 2008. That's basically.
But they don't tell you when the investigation started, any indictment.
No.
Because there would have to be a CI somewhere. There would have to be somebody somewhere. That's the only way.
I don't know. What do you call it? You have James Cruz about to take the stand or whatever, who was Diddy's manager and whatever.
Yeah.
For the prosecution. Like, that's what I said. It's 8 weeks. So you got at least another 3 weeks of prosecution's witnesses, and it'll probably be more like 6 weeks, and then the defense will do like 2.
You know what's funny? A friend of mine called me, say, "Hey, what's going on with the Diddy stuff?" I said, "I don't really know." She said, "Did anybody call you? You anybody came and questioned you or anything?" I said, "No, nobody would be coming and question me about anything. Trust me." A friend of hers had gone to one of his parties in the Hamptons 15 years ago, and they got his face in the video and did facial recognition and tracked him, and the FBI came and got him and brought him to their office. 15 years ago, he went to a party.
Now, see, this is one of the reasons why I didn't show up the first week, is because they got this real ID thing now, and I don't know if my enhanced ID works, in the courthouse or whatever. But I'm like, this real ID, they got a chip in it and all this type of stuff. Yeah, them feds is trying to find you wherever you are. It's basically like your ID is like a GPS system or something now.
But you can't travel without the real ID now, right?
I don't be getting on planes like that. So that don't really bother me. It's more like getting into the government buildings.
Yeah, well, I think you still needed to get into a real building, but yeah. Well, we'll see more about the Diddy trial this week. You want to wrap this up? We nailed it. 2 hours.
All right, because I know you liked it. Don't front. All right, hit the like button, subscribe, because I know you want to see more. We got more. You want to see more? Hit the subscribe, hit the notifications on, so you know when we're going live. Because you know you want to be here, so you can be in the chat, so you can be a part of the conversation.
So you can hear our crazy shenanigans on the No Cap News Recap Show.
Drop a comment.
Yeah, drop a comment and give us something to talk about. If you got any videos, anything that you want to let us examine on your behalf or someone else's behalf, that'd be cool too. Give us some content to work with. We love to, whatever part of the country you're in, out of the country, just something. Just let us see it. We'll examine it ourselves and see if it's worthy of being on a No Cap News Recap. That'd be an interesting twist if people send us a link or something and say, hey, check out this video, or whatever the case may be. So yeah. I'm LA and JT is right here.
I'm JT and I'm out.
All right.
Catch
Thanks
you
for
next
watching.
time.
See you all next time.